internet.
People
How
love the
are you?
interwebs. I'm good. I've just got my notes up because I did type up some notes.
Becky's just not ready.
I'm not ready to talk about this book.
I am.
I do feel like there's a lot to digest. It's a small book, but a lot happens in this book.
Emotional damage.
Emotional damage.
Oh God. Definitely emotional damage. I did not expect I did not expect it. Did not expect it at all. But I'm loving the introduction of hello.
Hello. We'll give it like 5 minutes just talking about general stuff and let everyone arrive, and then we will start talking about spoilers and characters and that ending. I'm smiling because I'm just like...
You like my pain, clearly.
I like everyone's pain.
And I thought I was bad. You are really bad. But generally, what did you rate
You're leaving Shadow Kiss till the end of the month, is all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not diving into that anytime soon.
To be fair, that's going to be my next book.
Might watch it on your birthday.
Once the live show's been sorted, I'm doing it my next book.
I'll watch it on your birthday when I'm on the bus coach down. Sat there crying up coach.
Yeah, I'm not going to be I'm not going to be reading it on my birthday. I'm going to be making sure it's read well in advance.
Hello, Emma. Hello. So what did you rate it, Becca? 2 stars?
My heart wanted 2, but no, it was a 5-star.
What did you rate it, Lisa?
I rated it a 5 too. I felt it was a lot better than the first one.
Yeah.
I feel like the first one was sort of like almost like a prequel to like the start of the series.
I kind of get that.
It was almost like a set-up book. It was setting up this world and setting up what's going to be happening in the following books, which I always find a little bit interesting in series, because normally the first book is like, boom, you're into it. And then the middle books are kind of a little bit... But yeah, this book just takes it to another level, and the following books are just... You'll understand why it's like one of my favourite series, if not my favourite series of all times.
I don't want to read it.
I've not read this series. Is it good? Because the set is only £25 on Amazon, so I'm quite tempted and try and catch up.
Get it.
I think you should get it. We're only on book 2, so it's March is the 3rd book. So
they're 2 pretty small books as well. Like, it doesn't look super small, but it is. It's like what?
325 pages.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, mine's 327, but still, 327 pages.
And I'm pretty sure the first book's only 380 odd pages. I don't think it's that much difference. So there's time to catch up. But stick around if you want to. But this will have spoilers in it, and it will be spoilers for both book 1 and book 2. So if you're thinking about reading it, I might suggest watching these back.
Yeah.
Once you read the books.
Unless you don't care about spoilers.
Unless you're okay with spoilers, then by all means stick around. And not gonna lie, hearing you all talk about this series is making me heavily want to reread it.
Reread it.
It's just, I love it. I love the book series so much, and I'm actually really looking forward to rereading the Bloodline series, because I haven't actually reread that since the first time that I read it.
Ooh.
So I'll be intrigued as to like reading it all back to back, which is why it's all on my wish list, because I haven't actually got them.
Well, you've got up until June to start getting them, haven't you?
Yeah.
I'm thinking when we do our shopping trip for my birthday, I think if they've got all of the Bloodlines books in Waterstones, I might just get them all. That'll be a nice little amount on my Waterstones card.
Yep.
Yep, I'm gonna see if they have like bloodlines. When we go up, if they have more than one bloodlines, I might pick up when we go shopping. But yeah, I'm excited for bloodlines later on in the year. They're so easy, quick to read too. Yeah, honestly, I also feel like because it's set in our world, there's no learning of sort of no learning of like
the world.
There's not a world to learn.
Thank you. Ideologies, that's the word I was looking for. It was a long and fancy word that I was like looking for. So ideologies. I will watch them back. I hate being spoiled. Yes. Click away and we'll see you, hopefully, if you've managed to catch up. I remember ages ago my mum bought me the last book in the Bloodlines, The Ruby Circle, and it came the day before we went on holiday, and all I did was I have to.
This is my first time reading it, and Becca's first time reading it.
I have 2 Bloodline books because I started reading Vampire Academy and Bloodlines sort of towards the time where I started collecting books rather than just reading them on my Kindle. Yeah. So I have them in 2 of them, but the others are read all on Kindle. So I might get the first one and see if I like it or not, actually, instead of getting the whole set and don't enjoy the first book. That's fair enough. One thing I will say is that the first book is not necessarily a good representation for the whole series. Because I'm pretty sure, did you 2 rate the first book 4-star but the second 5-star?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
So just keep that in mind when you do read the first book, because I think that there is a little bit of a jump in.
I will say on Core Pile, on Frostbite, you know the different things you rate on Core Pile. E is for enjoyment. Well, for this one, I rated E as though it was emotional damage, so it got a 10 because it broke me fully.
Really, I did not get that at all. I just saw smiles.
Crying on my vlog.
I didn't see you crying at all.
I think I was 14-ish. I got the last 3 in Vampire Academy for Christmas, and I finished them all Christmas Day.
Wow, love that. Love that.
Oh my god, I don't think I could have read Last Sacrifice in one day. Like, I needed breaks in that. Like, one of my students is reading the series too. It was nice to having someone to talk to in real life about the book, with not something that happens often. She warned me I was going to be sad at the end.
Yeah, Liv didn't warn me it would break me just as much as it did.
I didn't think it would break you that much. Like, I was like, I've seen you break down. Okay, we're going to start talking about spoilers because I feel like we need to start. It's 10 minutes in. Beware of the spoilers from this point onwards. So, when I didn't realise that you would love Mason as much as you did to the point of that breakdown. Like,
literally my favourite.
I liked Mason from book 1, but even though you don't see him a lot, when you do see him on the page, it does impact you a lot. And then you can feel that, like, although he doesn't have feelings, Rose doesn't have feelings for him the way that, in the first book anyway, in the way that you'd hope that she did, because she's going for the toxic older guy. Then, like, you just kind of feel sorry for him, but then you still feel the friendship, and that he would always got her back, and you're just like, oh, that is he's such a nice guy. And then that happens in book 2, where they start developing a relationship, but that very much reminds me of a certain book that we discussed the other day.
I was waiting.
And I was like, are you serious? Like, stop comparing him to Dimitri. He's not Dimitri. You can't have Dimitri, and you just settle in for Simon. Not Simon. You're settling for Mason. You're settling for Mason, and
Like-
Mason deserves better.
Right, I love Dimitri, and I know Dimitri is your favourite, but who would choose Dimitri over Mason? I know Liv would. But honestly,
I genuinely wouldn't.
Like, I would choose Mason. Mason, he was perfect.
But can I just... No, he wasn't perfect, because he went off to try and kill Strigoi by himself without being fully trained.
Yeah, but that was...
Right,
He's
still a teenage boy.
Liv. Yeah. Yeah, that's my thing. He's still a teenage
They
boy.
are
And
stupid.
Exactly.
Teenagers in general.
Men in general. People in general can do stupid things. And to be fair, even though she was going after him, she was still stupid by going after him before notifying anybody. So had they have notified someone prior to leaving, then
Things
they
might have
could
gone
have...
different.
Yeah. So they all did something stupid and rash. But this all started because she did a Clary. That's what. And I'm literally like, I can't believe this. When I read that and then I read chat, I was like...
Well, so we are going to talk a little bit about City of Ashes here as well. So if you haven't read City of Ashes, just a little bit of a spoiler cover there. I don't think it's the same as Clary.
It's not, but it is very similar.
It's similar, but I do think Rose had feelings for Mason to a certain degree, and I do feel like if Dimitri had gone off with Tasha, if you know, Rose was able to just focus on Mason, I think there was a blooming of emotions for her. I don't think it was a blanket, I'm going to use him to distract me from Mason. I do think Rose generally saw him as someone that she could possibly love. It just so happened
I
that
just
Dimitri
think her and
kept
Dimitri
poking
is
his head
pretty
in every time.
insta-loving.
He was kind of like, hello.
I still think she did focus, and she did sort of seek Dimitri out and getting jealous of him and Tasha, and doing things because she's like, well, he's going off with Tasha, so I'm going to do this. It's, and I do still think that there's not much time passed since she went back to the academy, and now, like where we are at this point in time.
I think it's been 6 months.
It's still very much like overly intense, this feeling that she has for Dimitri. I feel like it's
6 months is a long time, and they're training all the time together.
They're with each other. It's it's Love Island. I'm going to use that as an example. You're spending your full time with someone in a confined space that you can't really leave, because if you try and leave the academy, you know, you can't. It's in the middle of nowhere. You know, the closest place is like 2 hours away, I think it is, from the academy. So you're kind of stuck in a place with them, and everything is so much more intense when you're living with someone, working with someone. You know, you only really get spare time to yourself like 2 or 3 hours of an evening. You know, you're spending a lot of time with them.
She was getting like the crack of dawn to train with him, and then she was doing school, and then she was training again. So she was with him like a lot.
And you've also got to think about as well, the academy don't know about said feelings, and the academy is like, well, Dimitri is Lissa's guardian, and Rose is training to be Lissa's guardian. Let's stick them together for situations.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, the academy have kind of let Dimitri take that role because they're going to be working together in the future, possibly, as both of Lissa's guardians. Like, it's kind of...
Yeah.
It's a lot of situations that wouldn't necessarily happen in real life, if that makes sense. I don't think, you know, in a normal boarding school that would happen, because you could go off campus and go shopping or something because they're all relatively close.
Yeah.
Emma understood the series. Yeah.
This is the basis for this whole series. Do I want to continue? And yes, the answer is yes, but do I?
I agree, but teenagers
Yeah,
feel things so deeply.
Yeah.
They do, and, you know, Rose is 17.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that.
I do feel for Rose and her confusion with her feelings. She is young, and I suppose a good lot of us have all had that forbidden crush. And
Yes.
I do feel like that whole forbidden crush is playing into her feelings a lot as well at this point.
Because if you tell a teenager not to do something, they instantly want to do it even more.
Yeah. It's really kind of... And the fact that it's not like it's a forbidden crush that you can kind of forget about when you go home. The forbidden crush is literally training with you like 8 hours of the day. Like...
Yeah.
And then when you find out that forbidden crush has feelings back for you...
Yeah.
It blurs so many lines, and it blurs so many... Yeah, it just completely... Just... So much is confused. So... Yeah, I do think that...
I do get it. I feel like, yeah, she should have... I mean, I know she can't help feelings for Dimitri, but I know it's nothing like the other series in that respect, but like those two getting close and almost kissing and stuff, it was just a bit awkward because there is still that age gap there. She's still 17, and they did agree to sort of to not go there. So then,
like, you could understand it in the first book because obviously there was the enchantment. Like, Dimitri stopped things going further because he managed to snap out, but the initial them making out was because of an enchantment that was enhancing their feelings and stopping their inhibitions. But in this one, there isn't that. It's their self-control that they've got to deal with.
I do also feel like Dimitri is a lost little boy at times. And I'm not just saying that because I love Dimitri.
Yes, you are.
Just the whole... She was able to pinpoint the fact that he tries so hard to contain himself, and that they are a lot more alike than he lets other people think to be, like to let other people see. I think it's kind of made him, especially at the end in the epilogue, when he said basically that no, he wasn't going with Tasha, and that what I found interesting is that he also admitted to using Tasha like Rose used Mason. It was alluded that he did sort of like during that time spend a lot of time with Tasha and almost use her as a distraction from Rose. And she brought up a really good point, like Rose brought up a good point in that. Because between Rose and Dimitri is the same age gap between Dimitri and Tasha.
Yeah, but she's
also
17-year-old.
Yeah, Rose is
the mature.
Yes,
11.
I'm not saying it's the exact same.
No,
17 is a different age. But I just found it interesting in that sense. But yeah, I do feel like Dimitri is a little bit of like a lost little boy at times, and is trying to... He feels a lot younger.
It was pretty obvious that it's a typical YA thing to it. There's a brooding male that underneath it is actually a softer. He is your typical brooding male. So the fact that he does have a softer side on the part that, he does have feelings and stuff. It's not a surprise. It's kind of like a typical thing.
I think as well it was published around the same time of like Twilight, and to be fair, Ebb and Bella are odd with their age difference. Rereading that series in my 20s was a journey. Yeah, I do feel like I find it hilarious that a 17-year-old dating a 24-year-old, or potentially dating a 24-year-old in these books, is bringing up more red flags than Bella, who was 16 when she met Edward.
I think with that, it's because where he's a vampire, like technically he is 16 or 17. Like he is technically the same age as her, but the only reason he like isn't is because, you know, he is a vampire. But
yeah,
Rose and Dimitri are not. They age. Like
they're normal humans. It's like
I mean,
there's a
yeah, they are like
yeah,
Dampiers, they are. Yeah, I'm still getting used
Dampier.
to the words. They're
Yeah,
Dampiers, but they're still human.
yeah,
They still age. Their ages are accurate ages. So it's a lot
yeah,
more like a contemporary in that sense, like how a contemporary would be. And it would be weird, a 17-year-old and a 24-year-old. If
yeah,
she was 19, it wouldn't be as bad. But she's 17.
yeah. What got me at the beginning is I didn't expect her to go into the action as quick. Obviously, when she was being taken to do this like test, I kind of figured something was gonna happen,
Yeah.
but I didn't expect it to. I mean, obviously, it didn't describe anything too gruesome, but the fact that it went straight into the action and it sort of did describe all the dead bodies and stuff, I was kind of like, oh fuck. Hey, you're diving straight into it, aren't you, Michelle Mead? Like, with the like, yeah, that was a bit of a
I
job back
definitely
to
feel like
reality.
she upped her game a little bit in this one. She kind of
Yeah,
expanded the world outside of the academy. It was kind of
yeah.
very much, the first book was very much contained in the first, yeah,
I
two.
think
The
that
first book
was
was
the
contained
problem. Mm,
inside the academy, and it was very
Yeah.
much, a school for vampires. These are the, trials and tribulations. And to have that expanded out a little bit, it was really nice to see.
yeah.
I
And
do
go to the
think.
ski resort thing. Y'all knew something was gonna happen there, didn't you? But I'm glad we meet a new friend.
What was that?
Yes.
Could that be
I think
Adrian?
we should talk about the new friend.
The one that just I knew I actually did think something might spark between those two, but he again is he's like a typical cheeky vampire, isn't he? Like she looks at him and there's something about him that's beautiful, and it is still that very typical vampire thing, but then he's just sat there like smoking, and he's just like, I don't give a fuck.
Like, I'm not like other vampires.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love Adrian, and I'm not going to tell you what sort of context, but Adrian is in the Bloodline series.
I hope I see him more in this series. Forget the Bloodlines for now, because that's 4 months
Well,
away.
He at the end of the book, he is staying at the Vampire Academy. He is staying at Vladimir's,
Yeah.
so you are going to see more of him in the next book.
So even though he's still a couple of years older than Rosa, it's not her name, it's Rose. I actually wouldn't mind those two being a thing. I don't think they
Yeah.
will, because I think that.
But at least it's a more okay age gap.
Yeah.
Because I mean, how old is he?
19,
Is he 19?
Yeah.
I think he's.
I'm sure he's only 19,
19,
yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
I think he was meant to be going into his first year of college.
Yeah, so really, there's only
20, actually. I think he might be 20.
There's only really a year and a bit between them because she's almost 18. So
yeah, it isn't really a spoiler. She turns 18 in the next book.
I figured it would be in the next book that she did because it's already spanned half a year and she's been 17. Like the first two books have spanned over half a year and she's been 17 for that whole time.
Yeah.
So I figured that her birthday was coming up at some point. But
with her, with those two, like, yeah, you never know. Is it a connection because he's a vampire? But the thing is, she's around vampires all the time, isn't she? So, and she's not really falling for it. Had that connection with anybody else, but they immediately had some kind of like back and forth. And fair, it was mostly him start trying to banter with her and that, but like she couldn't help but like engage with him in that way. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I'm hoping.
I think Rose also found him comfortable because she was used to being around a spirit user, and it was that sense of familiarity with someone that she didn't know.
And she was seeing Lissa a lot less because Lissa's always with Christian. I mean, I can't blame her, but it's always with Christian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that was good for her. But, I mean, again, it did kind of come to the point where, although she didn't forcefully go to see Adrian, she ended up spending more time with Adrian than the guy that she was supposed to be dating, like Mason. Poor Mason was just like cast aside while this thing potentially bloomed with her and Adrian. I was hoping that she didn't just drop Mason for him. But
I think Adrian is 20 when you first meet him.
Okay.
Even so, it's still only a
2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she is almost 18.
Yeah.
So
that makes no sense, though.
What do you mean?
Okay, that's not his actual birth year. It can't be because that was published in So basically, it says that his birthday, he was born on the 3rd of August 1995. But if he was 20 when this book was released in 2008, because I'm born in 95, that's not that. Wiki is wrong. The Vampire Academy fandom wiki is wrong.
Yeah, but bearing in mind, you don't need to follow it the exact same way just because a book from 2008. It could have been written in 2005.
Doesn't mean the book is set in 2008.
Yeah, it doesn't mean the book is set in 2008. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, but if that's the case then, and this book was set when Adrian turns 20,
2005.
which means it would be 2015, where are the fucking mobile phones?
And it would have been 2000.
It would have been
2015.
Yeah, 2015.
I don't know.
Can they have that stuff at the academy? I know they've got laptops.
It doesn't need to be set in the same timeline, does it?
Yeah.
I think, yeah. Just
it's
ignore
fine,
that.
right?
But
it
yeah.
doesn't matter. Wiki's wrong. It's fine.
on the subject, when I mentioned Lissa and Christian, can we just appreciate the fact that I literally made a little tab when she says about it'd be like losing my virginity virtually.
That whole scene where she
I was getting secondhand embarrassment.
Yeah.
I was like, no, get out of her head. Get out of her head.
Yeah, can you imagine? Can you imagine? Like, not only would it be embarrassing finding out that someone was in your head, but being in your friend's head while she's having sex with somebody else. Like,
I felt so bad for Rose as well, though, because she was like, no, stop it. Get out. Come on, you're Rose. You're Rose. Like, she's like trying to get herself out of Lissa's head.
I feel like that bond is, as much as Lissa it's an invasion of her privacy. I do feel like Rose got like the worst end of the deal.
Yeah.
Like, she literally has no control over when she goes into her head. Like, there's a little bit of control. Like, she can try and find her out and things, but she had, high emotions.
She needs to get that under control because that's gonna be a bit embarrassing if it happens next time.
We've got some comments here. I wish you'd write more and do a Classy Claire. I do and I don't. I feel like I wish you'd write a little bit more so we know what's going on with the later the characters in a few years' time. But I feel like the books are well built enough that there's enough in there to keep me satisfied. But I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything either.
Yeah.
And I do think like the Bloodline series helped with that as well.
Yeah.
And it was nice to see like a different side of things.
Is that when they're adults?
I'm not going to tell you much about Bloodlines until later on in the books because there are characters that you haven't met yet that are.
All I asked was, is it when they're adults?
So did I. I can't remember what this was about, Amy.
Was it the second-hand embarrassment?
Hello, Rosie. Hello.
Hello.
Have you read this, Rosie?
Yeah, Rosie, this is a spoiler-filled.
I hope Rose has read it, because otherwise she would have just got loads of spoilers.
Yeah.
Although, no, she only commented 2 minutes ago, so...
Okay.
Hopefully. It's all good.
Yeah, Rosie, get off here if you haven't read it, unless you want lots and lots of spoilers, because we are going into some nitty-gritty details.
We already have.
Yeah. Lol, saying I was listening to it while I was cleaning. I legit stopped and
Yeah.
No!
I was doing the same. I was like, what?
I was sat there like, oh, please stop. No, no, no.
Get out!
I know I haven't read it, but I didn't hear the spoilers. Okay, well, we are going back into spoilers in a second. So, Rosie, like, as much as I love you, please leave.
Oh,
Just wanted to see if you...
Oh,
thank
Rosie.
you. No, leave. Love you, Rosie, but leave, please. Read the books and then come join in.
So what did you think of Tasha?
I loved her. I think she might be my favourite character.
I really love Tasha, and I wanted her and Dimitri to be a thing. I'm gutted that they're not yet.
Wait, who? Rose, Tasha and Dimitri?
Yeah. I wanted them to be a thing. Because, yeah. Because I mean, Rose definitely shouldn't.
Really loved when she was making that speech, because I think she made some really good points about why novices shouldn't become guardians at a younger age than they do, and the fact that why are the Moroi not learning how to defend themselves? Like, they shouldn't have to rely. Like,
yeah, that for me was just like, what?
But like, you should be able to protect yourself to a certain level.
Yeah.
Like, especially with what's happening right now in the books.
I honestly, I've always had difficulty with the way that the Moroi like treat the Dampiers. Like, they treat them as objects at times.
Yeah.
Like,
but the fact that
us.
Yeah,
like
the fact like you will protect us, I will protect myself. Like, and the Shigoi running around doing whatever they want to do, and they've got magic, and they're like, we've got magic that can help, but we're just gonna sit back, and you people without magic can just go and get killed for us because you're here to protect us.
It's almost like they treat them as lesser beings. Like,
well, they are. That's exactly what they do, because they are literally born to either continue having more kids, or which will just be trained to either have more kids or knocking stuff over, or they're just going to have more kids that are either going to be trained to protect them, or trained
they're gonna have to sleep with
kids.
one of them, because
like, yeah, exactly, like
Dampiers can't have kids.
That is literally that's literally all they're born to do. They're literally like being bred for just that.
Yeah,
just for
breeders are fighters.
Exactly.
And that makes me feel ick.
Yeah,
it just gives me the ick.
What really frustrates me is that, you know, the Moroi expect the Dampiers to train, but then also laugh and mock the ones who want to stay at home and raise their own kids.
Yeah.
And like call them blood whores and things. Well, hang on a second. They're the ones raising your future guardians.
Yeah.
Like,
and I'm just gonna put it out there. I don't like Rose's mum.
Yeah, no, I don't either.
Like, I don't care how much of a world-renowned Strigoi defeating fucking Dampier guardian you are. You can still have some kind of, you know, relationship with your daughter. And yes, I know at some point she did try, but it's just too little, too late. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
love.
Like, why should Rose give her the time of day when she's not been there for all this time? Like you just said, too little, too late. Like, if my mum abandoned me to just be raised by some random people, not her, so she could go and like fighting. Like, I know career-driven woman, but it's a completely different situation.
And at least come back and visit her.
Yeah,
I do.
Just keep in contact with her, other than like the random like what is it? Is it telegrams or something? Like just a random message
scathing
left
her, like she'll never get in touch if she's done something wrong. It's like scathing. It's never like well done or like, you know. Just no.
Yeah, I do feel like Rose and her mum don't have the best relationship at all. Yeah, I'm trying because I know like the characters in later books and like what happens with them, and I'm just.
This is honestly me when I'm doing the Shadowhunters ones, though. So I
didn't ask for spoilers. I just said, is the bloodlines when they're adults? Yes or no?
No. I think she was talking about other characters that we've been talking about. Like my face whenever you're talking about characters.
Could I just say, are there any short stories?
Yes.
For this, but is there one about Dimitri teaching Rose Russian? Like how to swear in Russian? Because I need a short story that's just Dimitri teaching Rose how to swear in Russian.
I don't think so.
Oh, I need that. And yes, I did literally just write a note about that.
I think that's why Rose and Lissa's relationship is so much stronger than usual bonds, is due to Rose's lack of family. And I do feel like Lissa's family took Rose in.
Yeah.
Like, they were both sat next to each other trying to spell long names, and they created a bond. And I think Lissa's family was that kind and generous that they were kind of like, come in.
Yeah.
To Rose. And I do feel like when Lissa's family died, Rose lost her family too.
Yeah.
Did she just read the Mortal Instruments and think, let's make it vampire?
Let's take this idea.
Because to me, it's kind of like,
that would have been clever though, because they were literally being released, I think, almost at the same time. I think the first books were released in the same year, and the second books were released in the same year. So that is like a really big coincidence. But then again, you've got to think about that sort of time. That was most YA books.
It was just strange how we're reading two series and
are very similar.
Some of the things are very similar, and it's like, was this all YA back then?
It was Vampire Academy was published on the 16th of August 2007.
I'm pretty sure the first, I think City of Bones was 2007 as well.
Well, I do like
21st of August. Oh, that's a film adaptation. Hang on.
While she's searching, we'll just have a
27th of March 2007. So only a few months.
So everything would have been in their final drafts and everything by that point.
Yeah.
That the coincidence is interesting.
But I do like the relationship that she has with Lissa. And I do get why she's jealous when she spends so much time with Christian. But it does bug me that she doesn't speak to Lissa about it. She just broods over it. Because, like, you can't blame that on being a teenager either. Because when I was a teenager, if I had a problem with someone, I would have been more likely to tell them.
I didn't.
When I was younger.
I was a very different person as a teenager than what I am now.
I also think that Rose is a little bit jealous of Lissa as well. The fact that she could have this relationship. And I feel like this is like the beginning of Rose really understanding the difference between Maroi and Dampier. Like, Maroi could have this open, public, loving relationship and not be ridiculed for it.
Well, she could have someone at her own age. It wasn't training her to be a guardian.
I don't think she could, because do you remember in the first book they laughed at two Dampiers who left their guardian posts to be in a relationship together?
No, I mean, she could be with a Strigoi. No, she couldn't. She could have been with a Maroi if she'd have found one.
But then she would have been ridiculed for being a blood whore.
Yep. They literally can't win.
True.
Whereas
But there's nothing that Dampier
Lissa,
women could. There's
Lissa's
nothing that
got to
Dampiers can do. So I do think there's an element of jealousy in it, and I don't think she fully realizes that. Like how much jealousy there is, because not only can she have, Lissa is getting the love of her life, whereas Rose is literally pining over her instructor, like her mentor. They can have it in public. That whole explosion of her mum exploding at that like lunch because she was speaking to Adrian. Like, she can't have a relationship publicly.
Just because she's with him, Mariah, don't mean that she's feeding off him, though.
No, but that's the rumour mill. That's you date a Maroi and you're a blood whore.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get that.
Agree, and I can definitely see that.
Yes, the family vibe too.
I'm trying myself to remember what's mentioned in book 1. Yeah, I'm exactly the same. I'm like, what's mentioned in book 2 or book 3?
You've just read it, so I hope you do remember.
I wonder if you'd like Shiver series by Maggie Stouffer too.
I love the first book, but I just haven't got around to continuing the series, but I do want to.
I've not read anything by Maggie Stiefvater yet. Is it the Raven Cycle she wrote as well? Yeah.
I've read the first 2 books in that series, and I really like that as well.
Not finished the series, Becca. You?
They're both on. I think they're both on part 1 as well of that video. Don't go there.
Shooketh.
But yeah, the tropes are there too.
It was definitely a Rose, a sulky bitchy jealousness. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was me as a teenager. That was definitely me. Definitely me.
I do think what the notes didn't make. I'm just.
What did you guys think about finding out about Adrian being a spirit user and being able to do different spirit magic to Lissa?
Didn't surprise me.
Yeah, it didn't surprise
I knew
me.
there was something different about him, and he found his own way of dealing with it by the alcohol and smoking. That was his addiction, whereas hers was the other thing that we didn't get a trigger warning for.
And on that, I actually made a note on page 9 about how the fact that Rose looking out for Lissa by literally researching like her mental health issues, and like so that she can better understand to be there properly. And I was like, Rose, I love you. You're a good friend.
I feel like one thing that Rochelle's done really well in this is like how the person who isn't struggling with mental health is helping the friend who is struggling with mental health. Like,
genuinely helping as well. Not like that I'm just gonna do the token things that everyone thinks you should do. Like, she's genuinely looking into it and being like, how can I help her best?
And the fact that she does constantly check in on her, and she is noticing changes to her, and that it isn't all hunky-dory and she's suddenly recovered and everything's fine, which could have so easily happened. Like, yes, it all happened in book 1 and it was trauma, but now everything's perfect and she's never going to do it again. She's never going to relapse. I like, as much as I don't like reading about that kind of stuff, the fact that, she isn't fully okay and she did have a bit of a wobble.
It's realistic.
It's realistic, and it was kind of like, I was hoping, like, the more I started reading, I was like, Rosie's seeing that there's something that's not quite right, and although this is saying she's okay, this whole transfer of emotions thing, though, that was like, I think she's taken Alyssa's feelings off her. Do you know she was saying Lissa was feeling better? But I think she's
taking the darkness.
I think she's taken the darkness out of her, but not done it on purpose.
But
I still think that was a bit like, I think that was a bit of a. That was my thought anyway. I don't know why I started thinking that. I don't know at what point of the book I started thinking that. But I was just like, oh, fuck, maybe. And Liv's just like, I'm not saying anything.
Do you know what?
I think the friendships in this series is its strongest point. The scene at the end when they're in the van when Mason. I don't know what word is. Ahums was so heartbreaking but so raw. I just think that whole scene, like when the thing that was heartbreaking for me was that she didn't even realise that the people that came in at the end were fellow Dampiers. Like, she was so emotionally distraught. And like when she just kept repeating the phrase, I have to protect him, I have to protect him.
Stop
like,
it.
And again, it honestly breaks my heart every time I read it because
No. No, you can't. Fucking hell. Oh, that was horrible. I fucking, oh my god. My friend was dying in that scene. I was sort of my best friend and he was dying. That was horrible. Oh, she was. Oh no.
I literally made a note on page 238, and I was like, I hope I'm wrong, but Mason is going to get himself killed by a Strigoi. And then I literally cried from the moment Mason walked back into the room because I knew he wasn't coming out of that room. Like, I knew that was it for him. And I really hoped I was wrong, but I knew I wasn't going to be. Because you'd said that the book was going to break me. And by that point, I was like, nothing has broken me yet. This is going to be it.
Yeah. But as much as I'm sad and devastated that Mason is dead, I do feel, and I remember talking to you, Lisa, about it when you first told me that you'd finished the book. Mason was the childish best friend, and he brought out the childish side of Rose.
But they are
and I feel
kids.
like Rose. I feel like
they are kids though. They need to be kids.
I do feel like it's symbolic. Mason dying is symbolic because Rose's childhood has ended.
Yeah, she, like, even at the end of that book, it's like a switch just flipped on her, and it's like she's done. Like, she's gonna start actually taking stuff seriously for real this time. Because I know, like, after the first book she did, but there was still that sort of like playful side of her because, you know, she's still only a 17-year-old kid. But yeah, this is like, I think, been a wake up call, and like, it's not fair. You didn't get to see Mason become like what he could have been. Like, could you imagine?
He was such a good person as a man because he was such a good person as a boy.
Eddie destroyed me with his reaction, yeah.
Then when she got the mark, it was such a bittersweet thing when she got a mark because on marks.
I also think that she learned a lot about that. She always looked up to the adult guardians, but I feel like she finally understood what a monil mark meant. Like, she always, like she says in the book, I always thought it was a mark of honor.
Yeah,
and of
she's
pride.
still taking a life, and that sort of hit her, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, and that's one thing that I think is done really well in this book is the fact that yes, you have to kill these beings because they are going to kill you, but at the same time you're taking a life still. It doesn't glamorize killing, which I think a lot of, you know, young adult YA fantasy and fantasy books do to a certain extent. Oh, it's fine, we're going to go kill the bad guys. Well, actually, hang on a second. They are people too, and you know, they might not have wanted to be in that position in the first place. One of the ways to turn Strigoi is they force you to turn Strigoi. You might not want to be in that situation.
Yeah,
so
that whole end bit, I was feeling a bit numb myself. I was just like, she's been through a lot. She's been through a lot, hasn't she? So her mother practically abandoned her. You know what I mean? And then she loses the family that, like the parents that she ended up staying with. She finds out that she almost died. Well, she did die, and was brought back by the person that she classes as a sister / best friend. And then she ends up falling for a frigging instructor, and they can't act on it. She then decides to start making it work with one of her best friends, and then he frigging dies on her. And then it's like, oh, let's just put a mark on your neck now because you killed a bad guy.
You can tell it's a YA book because the main character goes through some crap in it.
The numbers she had getting her marks was so real. Yeah, that whole scene where she was like, I don't understand. I can't remember the conversations I had with any of these people. I was just going through the motions. I was like, yeah. One thing
I was listening to it at the same time as well, though, so I was just like,
yeah, I still do find it interesting that Lissa could have brought anyone back, and she brought Rose back. Like, that is how strong their friendship is. Like, she didn't reach out to her mum to bring her mum back, or her dad, or her brother. She reached out to Rose, and like that.
She didn't know that she could do it, though, did she? She reached out.
No, but it was
emotional.
Her friend's hand she reached for. Like she didn't know what was going to happen. It was more of a comfort thing for her, and it was Rose that she reached out to for that comfort.
Yeah.
That I always find, it was subconscious. She didn't know what she was doing, but the first hand she reached for was Rose.
It's just, that whole end bit was just.
I don't like it.
No. But it's kind of, I do get what you mean, where like she had to sort of grow up a bit, because even though she knew how dangerous Strigoi were, in the beginning of the book, she was like, yeah, I could just not like do this, do that, and I'll kill a Strigoi fine. When she realised how strong they were, and then obviously Mason realised too late how strong they were. But
she literally learnt the hard way.
Yeah.
And I do feel like if she had been that little bit more mature mentally, she would have gone to the adults first instead of going after them herself. But I do also feel like she had a little bit of guilt. She had told Mason where the Strigoi was. She knew what power trip he was on when she told him where the Strigoi were.
She was going to end it with him as well, weren't she? She was going to say she couldn't continue with the non-relationship. And then
so I do feel like she had a little bit of that as well, and I do feel like at the end of the book she has a little bit of survivor's guilt.
Yeah,
she was fully prepared to die at that point. Like, she was, she said that, I think it was one book, she felt a sigh of relief that they had managed to get out. Like, she had done her job. She managed to get those Moroi out and her friends out of that situation that she still thinks that she put them in. She thinks that it's her fault that they're all there because she was the one who told Mason where the Strigoi was.
Yeah.
Well,
so the whole draining thing, when they were trying to get Christian to like flip, and the other one we don't like, I can't remember her name now.
I did kind of feel sorry for her at one point in this book. I kind of hated myself for it because I don't like her.
Yeah.
When her mum
Who's that?
dies. Mia,
that's her name.
When her mum, when you find out her mum's died, and I felt a bit sorry for her then.
Yeah.
And I was like, I sort of come to her and I was like, stop feeling sorry for her.
Then the
but
fact
I did,
that
I do kind of feel like that showed Rose's maturity from book 1 to book 2 a little bit, because she kind of was like, oh, I'm sorry. And I think that first scene where she goes into that house and sees everything sort of flipped a little bit of a switch in her. It was kind of like half on. It's like there were 2 switches. One switch went, great, you're growing up a little bit. And that
like, oh, this is real.
Yeah. And I feel like she kind of, if she hadn't have seen that, I don't think she would have had the same reaction to me as parents as...
Yeah.
She literally saw what happened.
She saw what happened and she knows what her mum would have gone through.
Yeah.
And, you know, she understood, and, you know, it was kind of like, oh shit.
I think Mia's reaction was quite a realistic reaction, finding out that she potentially has the magic that she could use to maybe kill these creatures. Then she'd want to use it. You'd want to use it when you hear that speech, like, we can use our magic to try and defend ourselves. You'd want to be like, okay, well, I've been told up until now I can't. Now I know there's a way I can. I want to use it. Her reaction was very realistic. I think I'd be the same. I'd want to go out and like kill him and find out.
Okay, teach me.
Yeah,
like,
and
teach me how I can use this.
The fact that she followed Mason to go and kill these things, it doesn't surprise me. That was a very realistic way of...
And hers was more of a revenge thing. Like, even if it wasn't those exact Strigoi, like, she wanted that revenge, and she wanted to be the person who did that.
And then they all realised too late that these Strigoi are actually really, really strong. Yeah. But at that point, I actually really did think at one point Christine was gonna go for a neck, and that the whole thing that she had going was that Christine was gonna bite her.
No, I had full faith in Christian, and maybe this is just my like unhealthy love for the bad boys, but I had full faith that he was gonna like come through and it was gonna be okay.
Yeah, and I didn't think he was I didn't think he would like totally turned. I thought that she was like saying, yeah, it's okay, you can bite me, just to sort of distract them. I didn't think he was doing it because he was giving in, but I didn't really know what her game plan was, and then they were like, oh yeah, he's actually burning the cuffs. I was like,
yeah, I do feel like that whole end scene brought Rose and Christian closer. Like, I'm going to say this one. I'm excited to see where Christian and Rose's relationship goes in the next book.
There's like a mutual respect there now. Like, they've been through this traumatic experience together.
Yeah.
And she trusted him enough to do that.
Yeah. I definitely feel like there's the level of...
And maybe it's made Christian sort of understand when Rose and Lissa went off, you know, before the beginning of book 1, made him sort of like realise a bit more now why they're so close and everything.
And I do also think that it's kind of... Christian always thought that Rose and Lissa going off was stupid. Like, they were immature and that they couldn't look after each other. Whereas now he's kind of seen how protective Rose can be in the outside world. And it's kind of like giving her the respect of, actually, you're a really good guardian. Like, I understand why you think that you could do that.
Yeah, like,
she will literally
not fully
die
trained
for anyone, won't she?
Yeah, she's not fully trained, but she's trained enough, and she obviously managed to keep her and Lissa safe for all that time.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
She will die for anyone she cares about. She's a loyal person, and
she's a good guardian.
To a fault.
To
a fault that she'll get herself into shit.
Amy felt sorry for Mia. I think it's this book that I started to like her. I do feel like Rose is definitely growing.
I think she means Mia.
I don't want to like Mia, but I feel like this is the turning point, and I'm gonna start liking her.
There's gonna be a redemption arc for her, isn't there?
Yeah.
I hate it when they do that. I want to hate somebody.
The thing is, I like a good redemption arc, but I'm also like, but I want to keep hating them. Like, just let me hate them. Don't take this away from me.
Hello, sorry, I've been so busy this evening. That's all right. Hello, Danny.
You missed me crying almost.
Hello, my beautiful people. I'm behind with books, but I am here to say hello. Hello.
Hello.
Please leave if you haven't read, because we are talking spoilers. It's my go-to now. Rose is always so willing to die for anyone around her, and it brings me to tears. Yeah, I just think Rose can be really selfish at times, but at the end of the day, she is willing to put her life on the line to protect those she loves.
Yeah.
And I think down to it, that's what makes a person. It doesn't matter how selfish they are superficially. You can have the last donut if you really want, but at the end of the day, to be able to say they would take a bullet for me is...
Yeah.
Also, Rose and Six nearly... Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I feel like
True.
Rose has really good instincts.
But I don't want to cry anymore, thank you.
Yeah. I'm not ready for...
The only thing the thing is, with Mason gone, I don't know what else can happen for me to feel scared. I'm scared.
Yeah, I'm scared because I genuinely don't see how anything else in this series could break me that way. But
unless Christine dies.
I don't want to know why I'm gonna be broken more by this one. I'm scared. Genuinely,
I don't care about other people enough. So the only people I really care about right now are Rose, Lissa, and Christine. Dimitri is alright, but I wouldn't cry if he died. But the only people I care about...
Adrian's fine because he's in Bloodline.
And yeah, Adrian, I wouldn't cry if he died, but he can stick around. But the only people I would cry at if they died, would be Christine, Lissa, and Rose. And I know, Lissa and Rose aren't gonna die because they're the main characters of the freaking books. And YA
some
don't kill off
authors
the main.
do get rid of the main characters.
YA
It's happened
won't,
before. I mean, I don't want to say the name of the book because it would be a spoiler, but there is definitely a YA series that kills off the main character before the end of the book. So it does happen.
I think I know what book you're talking about, and
it's literally my rage. It's like the worst ending of a series ever, and I hate it. But I know it can happen. I know they can happen.
So,
they can. Bye.
What do you two think is going to happen in the next book?
I have absolutely no idea. I'm still trying to process this one.
I think Adrian is going to teach Lissa how to use other parts of her spirit magic to do other things without the adverse side effects of the thing we don't like. But I think they might also teach him some other ways of dealing with his side effects other than drinking and smoking. So I think they're going to be sort of like working together. Rose, I think Rose and Dimitri are going to pursue whatever they're going to pursue regardless. And I think they're going to end up together at some point.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be endgame, but I think something is going to happen between them at some point in this series, like something more than what has already happened. But they're not going to be endgame because at the end of the day, they are going to be guardians and they can't pursue an actual relationship. So I don't think they'll actually be endgame in that sense.
Just sleep with Dimitri, then fuck off with Adrian.
I mean, to be fair, would you say no?
And then
on that note, there was actually a note I made. A Mason and Dimitri sandwich is where I would like to be. Sorry, Liv. when they're sat listening to like Tasha's speech and she's literally sat in between them, and I'm like, I would like to be in that space. But I literally wrote "Sorry, Liv" in my notes, like
you're gonna read a note. But I think because you mentioned this book breaking you, I think Christian might die, but I don't want him to.
Yeah.
Or get really badly injured to a point where he almost dies and we think he's gonna die, and then you do a sound and it's like, and I'm alive. But yeah. I think
that's the only thing I can think of breaking me as much as. The thing is, that wouldn't break me as much as Mason. It would break me. I would cry a lot, but I don't think that would break me as much as Mason. Like, I genuinely don't have a character I love more than I loved Mason.
But Liv did say that before you had the reaction to Mason, though, didn't you? Or she said it after?
No, it was
Or
after.
I said it after because I didn't realise Becca would have that much of a reaction to Mason.
I don't know. Yeah, I think something.
Emma, are you
yeah.
enjoying the fact that we can't see your face? Are you sitting there like?
But yeah, only the three main characters. If anything was to happen to any of those three, whether they was like having a near-death experience and I thought they might be dead for a period of time, or if I think Chrissy might just die. It's the only thing I can think of that.
Is it bad? I don't think I'd be that upset if Lissa died. Like, I like Lissa, but I don't feel that much attachment to her.
I'd be upset because
Yeah.
it's a main character death. And
I'd be more upset for Rose losing someone else than I would for actually Lissa dying.
Yeah, I feel like it would break Rose and it would send her off the rails.
Yeah.
And then she'd end up doing stupid shit. And she'd be like, okay, well, my mum's not around. I'll lose my surrogate family, and then I'll lose a best friend, and now I've lost my other best friend. But if she's shadow kissed, how would that affect her? That's the question.
Oh yeah. I'm wondering if at any point in the series she will meet her dad. Because we don't know anything about.
Is he going to be like some really high up vampire guy that's just like a proper devil?
Like, I'd be interested to see if she does get to meet her dad and, like, and does her dad even know she exists? I can't remember if that's been mentioned before.
Like, he's some kind of he's some kind of like high up vampire, though, isn't he?
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know.
But I think the whole reason why Liv, I'm just telling you name there. Lissa hasn't been feeling as low is because subconsciously Rose has been taking away her darkness, which is why I think she's been feeling more jealous and angry and bitchy, and she's not really understood why she's been feeling like that. Because it did mention that she's been feeling uncharacteristically like that. It didn't say uncharacteristically, but it did say some points like she doesn't know why she's snapping at people so quickly.
Yeah.
But I think that she's taking Liv's pain away and darkness away without Liv. I keep saying Liv, Lissa.
I was waiting to see if you'd figure you'd said it that time.
Lissa's pain away without noticing it.
See, I never thought of that, but that's a good theory. I like that.
But is she going to be able to stop it? Or is it going to turn her into some kind of evil? Like, is she going to go rogue and be like, I don't give a fuck? Like rebel style? I don't know. They're my thoughts. Yeah, welcome.
I wish I could give you thoughts and theories, but I'm not exaggerating when I say I'm still trying to process the second book.
What are your theories, Liv?
Just let me to explain book 3 to you all. To be fair, I am really excited to get into book 3 because this is where I stopped my reread last year. Because book 3 is the hardest for me.
But now, no, you shouldn't have said that. Because now I'm thinking something happens to Dimitri. Because he's one of your favourite characters. Thinking maybe something happens to Dimitri. He's like, it's hardest for me. And Dimitri's your man. And Mason's already dead, so...
Yeah, I'm not going to say anything else because I do feel like I would give stuff away. Like,
I think
my
you just
facial-
did.
How excited are you to get to the final book so you don't have to keep anything a secret anymore and you can just talk freely about everything?
You don't know how happy I am. And the thing is that when we get to Bloodlines, I can't remember exactly what happens in Bloodlines.
So it's going to be a lot easier.
It's going to be a lot easier for me to sort of like talk about theories and things because I can't remember what happens in them. I know the ending, like, of Bloodlines, so there are things that I'm going to be keeping quiet on, but a lot of the time I don't actually remember what happens in them. But I've reread Vampire Academy so many times when I was younger that I know this story inside out.
Yeah.
And I can't really go into like the next 4 books.
So yeah, I think someone's gonna happen to Dimitri, and that's what I'm gonna say now. That's my final word. Thank you.
It's all the big things I remember, but the little things I can't. Yeah, it's the big things, but then as I'm reading the small things, I'm like, oh yeah, that happened. That happened. So, yeah. But hey, I hope we're all looking forward to book 3. Lisa,
yeah, you've made me so excited for it.
When are you planning?
I don't know. I'm gonna finish Crush first.
Okay.
Because I'm intrigued about what's happening in this book so far. And then I've got all of them to read. So at some point in March, maybe on the coach down to Disney. I'm not going to Disney. To Becca's at the end of March. And I'll turn up to Becca's on the 31st. On her birthday, I'll be crying and handing her a present. I'll be like, happy birthday!
I would have probably already finished it by that point, so I'll just be like, oh no. I'm just not going to cry with you.
Happy birthday, I love you.
We can all have a discussion together about it in person.
Have some biscuit tea.
You'll be either side of us, Liv, like, it's okay. It's okay. I know.
I'll be sat there cradling a biscuit tea on Becky's birthday. It's supposed to be a happy moment. And I'm like,
yeah, I'll have a bottle of wine. I'm like, it's my birthday. I can drink if I want.
I'll put my face mask on so I can't give away any secrets. Like when I'm talking to you in person, like my facial expressions.
Oh God.
Next month, heads up, I will be doing the live show on the Monday evening because the Sunday evening I am travelling back from Becca's.
Yes, it'll be Monday the 4th.
It'll be Monday the 4th is when I'm planning on doing the live show for Shadow Kiss. Becky said you're going to read it towards the end of the month, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm making it my last book, so it will be that last week because I've got that last week off work, so it will be read within the last week. It's going to be a fun vlog. Watch me cry again.
I want to read it straight away, but I think I'm better off waiting until the next live show. That's fair enough.
After
I'm
the slump Frostbite
it...
put me in, I'm not letting Shadow Kiss do the same this early in the month.
I'm going to be reading Shadow Kiss next. Like, it's my next book. Because I want to
not be doing it last minute again?
Not be doing it last minute, and also I want to read Love Hypothesis and Hosab. Because I want to get this, because I've got a video lined up for this. Which is my magical readathon book. So I want to get that finished, and I can listen to the audiobook and do that at the same time. So
yes.
I think you should.
I approve of this message.
I think this is a good idea. Right. On that note, we're going to end it here. Thank you all so much for joining. Thank you to Lisa and Becca for some wonderful chats.
You're welcome.
And I will see you all next month.
Bye.
Bye.
I'm now going to turn this off.